Hello, hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. Let me get myself together here. Welcome to Leap Taken. I'm Mika. Here at Leap Taken, I talk all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting esoteric, and everything else in between. And welcome. Welcome. All right, so today we're going to be talking about Litha, the summer solstice, which is, I'm going to get into it, one of my favorite times right now. I love this time. This is a good. Why do I say this? I like celebrating, but definitely summer solstice, obviously winter solstice, and Samhain are my top three, I guess, pagan holidays that I love. Hi, the Empress Goth, and Ski. Hey, happy Wednesday. I love these days. These are fun or events because it's not just one day. But anyway, these are my favorite Sabbaths. All right, so welcome. Here at Leap Taken, I talk all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, everything else in between. And yeah, this is the Wednesday Live. So this is continuing the Hot Witch Summer series. And the series, by the way, is just for June. And then I'll have something else going on for July, but it'll still be summer. I'll be keeping the energy going. But this is still very much within the Hot Witch Summer series. I am going to wrap up next month with some like other stuff, things to take you through the entire summer. But I want to talk about this subject, Litha, the summer solstice. This is such a vibrant time. This is to me a very powerful. A lot of people don't realize it, but it's a very powerful Sabbath in the wheel of the year. And as I mentioned, it's one of my favorites. And the reason is because it's all about joy, heat, confidence, creative power, and celebration. All the things that I'm really into. Um, I I sort of come alive. I feel like I start thawing out, like just like emotionally, mentally, and spiritually with spring. And what happens around this time of year, it just carries me through until the fall. But it's about embracing that brightness in your life before we get to that slow descent into the dark half of the year, which I will go on and on about once we get to that point. But yeah, I'm going to talk about the history, the traditions, and the modern ways to go about celebrating Litha and the summer solstice, plus why I think Litha is still relevant for witches today. So grab your drink. I have mine. Light your candle. I have incense. If you don't have something already going, and let's get into it. So I'm keeping up with my water goals. I think I'm all the gnats. I might be getting it. I have a paint project behind me that I'm doing. So if you're one of the leapers here with the YouTube membership, that video is going to go up tomorrow. I just had to do finishing touches of my Litha altar, so I got stuff behind me. But I had some water, for the paintbrush, and the gnats love that. So I have something set up. I did the apple cider vinegar with the dish detergent, something sweet and all that. Don't touch that. But the paint water, yeah, they like that. So, and it's bright yellow. So maybe they thought they were flying into something and it's trapping them. So I'm happy it's finally got all these stupid gnats. Anyway, uh, so what is Litha? We're going to start with the basics. Litha falls around June 20th to the 22nd, depending on the year. It's the summer solstice. It's the longest day and the shortest night. We'll have to try. Yeah. It's the longest day, shortest night. The word Litha comes from Anglo-Saxon and was used in early calendars for the months of June and July. And that was actually a fact I know. I was doing a little research for this and I found that information. Maybe I did and I forgot. But for many pagan and Wiccan practitioners, this is a time when the sun god is at its peak power. Now, I don't subscribe to that, but I'm just telling you. The goddess is pregnant with the harvest to come, symbolizing fertility and abundance. The sun is literally standing still. That's what solstice means, apparently. And after this, the days will slow slowly grows shorter. So it's also a sacred turning point. So I want to talk about like the cultural and deity context. I'm just giving you an overview of Litha right now. So in Celtic and Norse traditions, this was a time for celebrating fire and the sun gods. So you want to think Lug, Lugh. Forgive, I'm not going to pronounce it the way you think I should, so bear with me. Beldor, that's Baldur, and Belenus, Belenus. For those of us who work with more African spirituality, think Ogun for fire and action, or Oshun, who radiates beauty, attraction, and abundance. The solstice was deeply respected by ancient people. Think Stonehenge, built to honor the rising solstice sun. So this is something this is very ancient to celebrate the summer solstice. This is not new. This is definitely not new age. But what are we celebrating? So I told you all that. What are we celebrating? Growth, protection and fertility, solar energy, that's what I've been talking about the past couple weeks, and expansion, personal power and momentum. I'm tapping into that. And in modern witchcraft, this is sort of like a spiritual pep rally to move forward with intention. So I have a question for you guys. Have you celebrated the summer solstice before? It would come to I would come to the realization not everybody celebrates the summer solstice. Some years ago, when I started the coven, the lead taking coven, I realized not everybody celebrated summer solstice. Foolish me, thought a lot of witches did. Or is this your first time diving into Litha? Do you do summer solstice? Do you do Litha? That's my question. Or have you? Maybe you're not doing it this year, but have you? I realize the world is getting a little crazy. It's kind of hard to get past the things that are happening and celebrate. Yes, over 30. Okay. It's hard to sometimes celebrate right now, and I'm only going to talk about this briefly. I'm doing this live, so clearly it's happening in real time. I want to be very clear. I am very aware of everything that's happening in the world. One of the side effects from being part of the group of people who are marginalized, never really protected, and we have actively had a target on our back since they picked our ancestors up from another continent, is that we know how to still thrive in the chaos that is this country, or that is this world for that matter. We still know how to thrive. We still know how to get a bag. We still know how to be healthy. We know how to have joy. We know how to celebrate. We still know how to do that. So, yeah. So I can still talk about the joys and the celebrations and manifesting and how my magic is working. And this is one of the best times magically for me because I'm tapping into solar magic in a way that maybe I haven't done in the past. And I'm sharing that with you guys because I'm actually living what I talk. And I'm having crazy success with all the spells and all the things that I'm doing. And my spirituality is just deepening during this time because I know how to live in the chaos. I don't like it, but I know how to do it because my entire existence has been in that chaos. So yeah, and I'm expected to still thrive against constant oppression and so forth. So yeah. Yeah. So that's why I can still talk about this while the world seems like it's all, burning. It's always burning. We still celebrate, but what's going on isn't about exactly. My exist I I had to learn that at a young age. So adversity at like for as long as I can remember, like I always had to do yeah, I know how to do this. So I know for some people it's really like, how am I supposed to be known? Why are you talking about this and everything else is happening? Because this still happens, even though that's happening. And also, I can't tell you enough. to be in a state of joy, to be in a celebratory mood is anti everything else that's going on in the world. So there's that too. But I just want to take a pause for that cause and let you know where my mind is and where my headspace is. I am clutching and cleaving to the summer solstice, into this energy. And actually, I'm using it as well to counter some of this foolishness that is happening. So, think of it like that. But let's talk about traditional and modern ways to celebrate. All right, because witches know how to throw a good sacred party. So traditional ways are for Litha, summer solstice, is definitely going to be bonfires for joy, passion, protection. People danced, they jumped around over flames for good luck, and they feasted. I love that. Offerings as well. So traditional ways, one of those ways is doing offerings to your solar deities, your spirits, or just the earth. So you're talking about like fresh herbs, bread, fruit, honey, mead, stuff like that. Mead's not that bad. By the way, I kind of like mead. Actually, dang, I might make a ticket. I know I could go buy mead at Whole Foods. They were selling it at one point. I might have to take a trip and go get me some meat because I think it might just take it up a notch. Although I just like a good glass of white wine. I don't know, meat or white wine. I feel like they both fit the summer solstice. But anyway, moving on. Herb gathering. So another traditional way. Herb gathering was actually really big. They would go for things like your lavender, rosemary, St. John's wort, calendula, stuff like that. And another thing is altar decor. So you want to dress your altar with gold, orange, red, sunflowers, and solar symbols. Which leads me into the next conversation, which is modern witch celebrations. You do red wine. See, red wine does sound better. White wine, I was thinking light, but now I want red. I think red wine for sure when I think of like the dark half of the year celebrations, like fall, anything. I don't know. Maybe now I want some red wine. Pick up a Pinot. All right, so let's talk about modern witch celebrations. Sun tea, which I'm active. This is happening today. A sun tea spell. So you're gonna brew your herbs. Um, Hibiscus for me, it's my favorite, but lemon balm is another one. In the sun, and you just speak some affirmations over it, or you tell it what to do. I'm gonna just stop for a second. So when you are doing that, and let's say you're doing loose herbs, touch them. Obviously, with clean hands, but touch them, talk to them, rub them together, bring out the energy, talk to the herb, talk to the tea blend, the herbs and all that, talk to it, give it an intention, especially if it's store bought versus you grew them yourself. So you want to, that's another witch tip that you want to do. You start early. You tell the water as well. You give it its intention as well. Another modern witch celebration for Litha is petition magic. So you write what you're releasing or manifesting, and you can burn that paper. Be safe if you're here. I say that because I'm in a place where fire outside is dangerous right now. Another thing is solar charging. I've talked about this since we started in June, but you can put your tools, your witchy tools or your crystals out at sunrise. If you are in a climate like myself, you don't need out there that long, maybe an hour. And depending on the day, like today, I don't know, maybe a half hour, maybe not a full hour. It's super hot right now. I think, shoot, I was looking at the weather. Let me see if I know it got up pretty hot. I think is it 114? Let's see. No, right now it's 109 where I'm at. It's going to be 112. It'll be 114 tomorrow is the high. 114, you heard what I said. So yeah, for me, seriously though, I do a lot of windowsill things because realistically it's just too gosh darn hot. I would have to do it at sunrise. But solar charging is real. Look into doing that. And window if you don't feel comfortable going outside or leaving your stuff outside, definitely do it like that. I'm talking to y'all and I'm getting like these messages, and I'm like trying to determine, is this important? No, No, it's just my pickup order. Cool, cool. All right. Anyway, I got some books coming in. I'm waiting for Amazon to drop off my books. Yeah. Um, because I'm actually sold out. I was sold, well, kind of the grimoire, Hoodoo grimoire. I actually had to restock. Ha! I'm so excited for me. Anyway, back to the subject matter on tangents. Sunrise or sunset walks. That's another one. You can meditate on your personal growth or what's blossoming. And I want to tell you guys a little bit of story about sunrise sunset walks. So when I lived in Naples, Florida, when I lived in Naples, Florida, we would do a sunset beach visit. So in that life, I lived from my, like, literally from opening the door to get into the car to shutting the door to park at the beach, 10 minutes. That's how close I was to the beach. So that was something like on a regular weeknight or weekend or whatever. We would hang out and watch the sunset because it's the Gulf, of Mexico. The Gulf is right there. And, so you're west, so you could see the sun setting. And it was so corny because people would clap and I would join because I didn't want to be an outlier. So, when the sun would finally set, everybody would clap. But it became like a bit of a ritual. I would take my red wine at the time out to the beach and maybe like a little snack, something after dinner, or maybe something sweet or something like that, and have a glass of wine and go out ahead of time. But this was just like a constant thing. And it did become a bit of a ritual that I really looked forward to, just seeing that sunset. Now, conversely, when I lived on the other side, my goal was always to see the sun rise, but I never made it to the beach in time to see it because I just felt like that was just too early to be going out to the dang on beach. But sunsets were my favorite, and I did ritualize it. And what I would meditate on is just gratitude. It was never lost on me. I was just this little girl that grew up in Jersey, and I'm living this life where I'm 10 minutes from the beach. I'm on the beach, and I'm very aware I'm around a bunch of rich people as well. Naples, Florida, it's a lot of rich folk, well, at the time, but a lot of money out there. I wouldn't call myself one of the rich folk. I just lived amongst the areas. But yeah, that was like a place for me to just be incredibly grateful. Um, yeah. So decorate your altar. So again, add some seasonal fruit, yellow candles, or fire colored fabrics as well. Do something bold. Dress, in yellows and golds, wear glitter, perform a glam spell is a great time as well. Do you guys have favorite ways that you might want to celebrate the summer solstice or Litha, or do you want to try something? I'm trying a couple different things. I'm actually documenting it with the Leap Taken members. So if you hit that join button, that's the membership I'm referring to. I'm doing things like I did a candle spell ahead of time that I worked, and there's another thing that I did prior as well. But yeah, I'm doing a bunch of magical things, kind of more of a lead up. And then, of course, with my coven, we're having a different type of ritual than we've done in the past. A little bit of what we've done in the past, but I'm adding some new elements to it. So yeah, I'm doing a couple different things. I'm looking forward to. You got to keep it fresh, keep it interesting, or you get bored with all of this. Your practice, it could become boring. I think religious people probably feel the same way, like people who are maybe Christian or Muslim or Jewish. I don't know what these people are, but I imagine after a while, don't they get bored and they see it as in like they're losing their faith or something like that. And it's like you might just be bored. I think that's why people change churches, look for a new minister, and just kind of take a different route sometimes. Am I off? Is that a thing? I feel like it's a thing. I feel like I remember that coming up that people would do that, right? Anyway, next, noun. This is what I really want to talk about: alternate pathways. Once upon a time, I was Wiccan in the very, very beginning of my journey. and then I wasn't. And I haven't been Wiccan in a very long time. So this is for people like me, then and a little bit now, alternate pathways. So let's say you do hoodoo, or you just call yourself a spiritualist or a folk witch. All right. I want to acknowledge something really important, because not everybody who might be watching me identifies as even pagan or follows the wheel of the year. Um, Again, you might do more root work or spiritualist traditions. I'm giving it very high level terms. Or maybe not just, but maybe you do ancestor veneration. Or you work with spirit, but not necessarily deities, because I was definitely one of those people for a very long time, and that is completely valid. So I want to talk about the energy of the summer solstice without needing to call it Litha, which is kind of how I approached it for a very long time. So if you're a hoodoo or root worker, you probably don't observe the Sabbaths, but you do work with nature, timing, and season. So the sun is energy, right? It's action, it's power, and it's the best day for wearing red, um, yellow, or gold. Uh, yeah, it's the best day, not wearing, it's the best day for red, yellow. I have my note. I was like, you're not wearing, no, for candle magic, duh, Mika. Red, yellow, or gold candle magic, which is going to be for strength, for attraction, for luck, and for drawing success to you. Another thing you can do is sunrise water. You just place the water out at dawn, and you can use that for your spiritual baths or to wipe down your doors for clarity as well. Sweetening works. So using sun charged honey, you can make some sugar water very easy, or even fruit. Ancestor offerings. So outdoors though. So using honey, or cornmeal, fruit, or even fire if it's safe. um, and a petition spell. So you could burn it in a small fire, or even a candle flame, and ask your ancestors to bless your path now that the light is at its strongest. So you can definitely work with this energy that way. Now, if you're kind of more of a folk witch or spiritualist, again, high level term, you might not be using that word Litha, but you still feel the shift in energy. This is definitely out to my hearth witches, my cottage witches. You might want to do maybe a house cleanse. And this is a perfect time to wipe down mirrors, clean your floors, and open up all windows. I'm practicing what I preach, because I'm literally going to be doing these things um, the day before. So I kind of have a system in my head. So Thursday, I'll be, going in, cleaning windows. I'm definitely this one, the windows I can get to on the outside, I'm going to be cleaning on the outside as well. But yeah, this is a great time to be doing all that. Using fresh herbs, Florida water, and a broom for spiritual sweeping. Offer something to your spirits, like your house spirits, maybe a shot of rum, a candle, or fresh flowers. Doing divination outdoors, or maybe near a window if you don't want to go outside. Ask what you need to focus on as we move into the second half of the year. So just a couple ideas. So how to celebrate summer solstice without calling it Litha. You could call it the solstice, the longest day, or even sun power day. I love that. Whatever, make it yours. You can reflect on the fruits of your labor. I heard somebody talking about that this morning. Reflecting on the fruits of your labor. What have you grown this year, emotionally, spiritually, or magically? The context that I heard someone talking about it, they were talking about turning 40, and they were thinking this is the time of your life to reflect on the fruits of your labor, all the work that you've done. And I thought it stuck out to me, because I knew I was going to be talking about this. And I was like, yeah, the fruits of your labor. But this is the time, just within the year span, to think about that. What have you grown emotionally, spiritually, or even magically? Um, me magically a lot. I feel like the faith is not the right word. Interest is not the right word. I'm trying to find the right word to explain, but I guess I should just say the magic in me has grown. leaps and bounds. It's like I feel like I've just woke up something more in myself with this solar energy. Okay. And another thing is we're still talking about how to celebrate the summer solstice. Spend time in gratitude, ritual, or even for some of us, a hot shower or a hot bath. That counts. Um, but if you're doing the bath, you get to add oils and things like that that sort of radiate that sunshine. So you can take oils that maybe you had in the sunlight for a period of time and use them in your baths. If you're a shower person like me, you can use it on your skin afterwards to seal in the moisture. But look for those citrus scents or using essential oils and things like that, like orange, lemon, and then something a little more deeper like clove. Um, I've seen there's things out right now and they talk about using maybe cinnamon, and I realize I'm okay with like cinnamon in some things, but not everything. No, as a complete sentence. I know that's right. Lime and cloves, yeah, things like that. Excuse me. Probably the smoke. I did that, one, to cleanse the energy, and two, literally to keep these gnats away from me. So that's why I have this going right now. It's a little bit of both. Excuse me. This is a great time to also do visibility spells, which has kind of been a central theme I've been talking about. But if you're launching a business right now, or you're trying to show up online, or stepping into leadership, this is a great time to do those types of confidence, visibility spells, courage spells, things like that. Gnats and flies are a pain this year. They really are. Like, I'm like, dang, I thought they died. Like, how are they still here? So I'm using things. This is why my mom, I grew up in a household where she would light incense in the summertime. If we were outside, she would just have a bunch of, it would just be smoke. That's how we got down. So I'm taking that here. So between my paint water, which I meant to dump out and I didn't, and this collecting gnats and this incense, so far so good. All right. So I have another question. Um, are you more of a spiritualist? Is someone watching this more hoodoo rooted or something else? And if so, how do you feel about celebrating this solar energy? Um, and if you do, like, how do you do it in a way that reflects your tradition? One of the things that I've learned over the years of practicing witchcraft is really, once you kind of know the basics, then you can make it your own. And making it, celebrating the wheel of the year, I've made it for me. I don't live in a place where I see like the four seasons very clearly, because it's been very warm here for months now. So and it never, it doesn't get cold per se, it gets a little chilly outside. So I don't see snow or anything like that. I grew up in a place like that, so I'm familiar, but I haven't lived like that in a very long time. So I've had to make it my own. I'm in a desert right now, so I've had to. You find ways to make it your own, and if you don't, maybe you don't celebrate it. Maybe it doesn't make sense. Maybe it doesn't resonate with you, or maybe you're celebrating summer solstice a little after the fact, because some places it's not that warm. They don't feel it. Like in May, for instance, they didn't feel spring vibes because it was still chilly outside. So I totally get that. Maybe you reserve that when it feels like it for you. So I want to talk about why Litha still matters. Now that we kind of went over the different paths and different ways to celebrate and all that sort of thing, this is peak sun's. This is the peak of the sun's power, and it mirrors your power, or it can. Uh, this is a time for you to kind of start asking yourself, like, or ask me, what am I proud of right now? I'm tapping into that energy of the sun. And what is growing, what's blooming, or what's thriving in my life. When I think of the sun, I think of like Leo energy, like step out, of the shadows. Pull, come, let yourself out. Let the ego play for a minute. Ask yourself those questions. And if you don't feel like you have a valid answer to these questions, this is an opportunity right now to use this energy so that you can then answer the question at a later date on maybe what's growing and what's blooming. If you feel like you're stuck and you're at a standstill, that's why I kind of like working with this energy, because it can pull you out of that funk. The Empress Goth says, Elemental Witch Earth Litha. I enjoy the smell, the wind, and some heat calm. I like that. Puts me in a Midsummer's Night's mood. Yeah. It's time to get the practical magic on for me. I don't know. Has anybody else saw that the amount of content right now of I'm hosting a practical magic party, inspired party, or I'm seeing people making drinks or setting up tablescapes. I'm saying over here. But yeah, this is definitely that kind of energy right now. And I don't know. I feel like I'm not the only one out here picking up on that energy. But again, this is a time for prosperity spells, mirror work, confidence rituals, solar plexus chakra healing, and magic for being seen and heard and celebrated. I think this is a great time for that. If you are struggling, a lot of us want to get on social media, but you're nervous, you're afraid. I've been very open about like my kind of weird, irrational fears of going live on TikTok. I don't know what this is, but I am tapping in and I'm going to get past it. And I figure the best thing for me to do, I've already worked a courage and confidence and creativity spell. So now I was like, okay, so let me tap into that energy and go ahead and put myself out. So I'm attempting to, I have a lot of things to do between now and Sunday, and they're all solstice related, by the way, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to stop being irrationally fearful. I don't know why I'm like this. I'm here live. I don't know. Will I not be received? Will they be mean or more critical? Someone that I follow has had a lot of success on YouTube with her content. And she has been making an effort with TikTok, and she's on Instagram as well. And she pointed out in her recent TikTok that she had also been afraid to kind of post more over there and put herself out there more. And she said that she's finding more negativity now, definitely on Instagram. But YouTube, people are, oh, why? She put on like a dress and somebody was like, oh, your stomach is bigger, stuff like that. Like people just talking about her body and stuff like that. So she said that she felt like people are friendlier on TikTok. So that has been her success. Not that I'm really worried about what people saying about my appearance per se. I mean, I have videos over there already, but I don't know. That's why I say it's irrational. I don't know what I'm afraid of, but this is what I'm talking. Instagram is, I don't even treat it that serious over there. I think Instagram is actually the place. If you do have any insecurities about the way you look, like physically, I thought like they're meaner there, but nobody trumps Facebook. But moving on, I was gonna say Facebook by far is the most unhinged, the people who don't read. It's not a nice environment over there. Anyway, moving on. Whether you're casting a candle spell or if you're just going to sip some sun tea, which counts, or if you're just kind of journaling about your wins, you're participating in the magic of Litha or the summer solstice. So, be open to that. You can make it whatever you want. This is what I'm talking about. You can make it your own. But I think this is a great time to work that prosperity candle if you want to do that. If you have a spell and you'd like to break, let's say you're doing okay, but you want to keep it this way in these tumultuous, unprecedented times that we consistently, unfortunately, keep living in. Mirror work, it's a great time. If you want to put fire under something right now, if you want to make things accelerate right now, this is the energy that you can easily tap into. And honestly, like I said, it's from the 20th conventionally from the 20th to the 22nd, but the lead up is something you can definitely tap into as well. It's to me, I treat it kind of like the full moon. 3 days before, 3 days after, you can tap into that energy of this solar, fiery energy that's happening right now, this peak sun power. So, just want to point out if you've kind of been dimming your light right now, this is what this is all about, the hot witch summer. If you've been dimming your light, stop, myself included. Like, I'm doing this for me as well. And it's corny, but the sun doesn't apologize for shining. We've seen that before. And neither should we. Shine where, however that manifests. For somebody like me, um, it is wearing bold color combinations, going outside. Hi, Olivia. I'm glad you're catching me live too. I'm almost done, but I'm glad you're here. Anyway, but yeah, it's about wearing bolder colors and, I don't care about showing skin and stuff like that. But I realize that there are people in the world who do seem to care that I show skin because of my age, I guess. I don't know. Um, it never is where somebody's coming up to me saying you shouldn't be wearing that. It's more like, and I hate that this happens to me. It's more like it's usually sadly women, young women, who are making the most out of pocket comments like, "Oh, it's nice that you still wear this, or you like this," and like weird passive aggressive BS stuff like that. Um, I've been taken off guard because I didn't know that was coming when I was out and about, but I'm better now. So my comebacks are a little bit more, little tighter now. I'm ready for it. All right. So I want to kind of anchor all this energy before we close out. So a couple questions you can ask yourself. You can choose to answer if you want, but um, I kind of asked before about celebrating the summer solstice before. Are you celebrating it this year? Are you going to celebrate the summer solstice, Litha, this year? Um, and what does showing up in your power look like right now? I'm going to answer this for myself. Showing up, uh, what does it look like with me showing up in my power currently? Is literally casting spells, doing magic. Um, prepping, doing all the things, making my sun tea, um, doing some light or reorganization around the home, especially in the kitchen, making room for things because I'm tapping into all this energy, so I'm making room and emptying out shelves for more to come. Uh, it's also physically stepping into my power by realizing movement is essential, and I got to do those walks. I got to, do a little weightlifting and stuff like that, do a couple yoga poses and throw those in there because that supports the body so that I could do all the other spell work and rituals and all that sort of stuff. Um, and rest. So all this energy, I'm a fire sign, so I'm real tapped in right now, y'all. But also understanding the importance of rest, also being in my power, is recognizing that things change, and one of the things is like my sleep schedule. I'm getting up earlier with the sun, and that's okay, and I'm vibing with it. Yes, spell work. I already changed the inside of my house again. There you go. You get, yeah. So another area is like, so what we'll do is like, we're so wrapped up in all this energy, all this fire energy. I will change all the furniture in the house, put up some new curtains. I change things. I'm ready to do something different. Like we're very energized, and it has to come out physically. Like we got to do something, some sort of action. So I definitely can relate to that. Um, yeah, just some, that's why I said like some reorganization, stuff like that. Like I have to let that out, but that's me tapping into my power and kind of showing up in that power. That's acting it out. So I guess the action is how I show up in my power right now. It's the action. I'm not thinking about it. I'm not planning. I'm doing. I'm practicing magic. I'm not saying I'm a witch and not actually casting spells. I'm casting spells. I'm not saying I'm a high priestess of a coven. I'm doing and leading rituals. It's the action part for me. And a lot of the solar magic that I've been talking about has everything to do with doing. Um, and I know we're tired, but that's why I said rest. It's a balance. It can't be hot all day, night comes. Same deal. Like I do rest. I'm not go, 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 go. Well, a little bit. For a small part of the day, I am go, 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 and then I'm tired. But I don't have guilt about that. I'm a woman of a certain age. I should get tired. And also, I'm in my queen era. We could say crone, my queen. I'm no longer a princess. The queen needs to rest. She needs to lay her head down. She needs to close her eyes, rest her eyes for a minute, and then we can come back. But that's part of the power, and recognizing that. All right, next thing. What are you harvesting in your life right now? Spiritually or creatively, excuse me. So for me, spiritually, I kind of tapped into that a little bit now, just even more magic. And it's the day-to-day daily magic. Yeah, I'm on that. But I've kind of talked about this a little bit, but I've been having trouble with the whole dreaming big. The very dream big concepts where I did spells on spells on spells on spells. Um, I have been reluctant until recent. I've been reluctant. It's like I've had a lot of false starts about that. And I think one of the things is if you've done a very complicated um working before where it's kind of like a spell on a spell on a spell and it's been over a period of time and there's a lot of moving parts. Think like for me moving across the country from South Florida to Arizona. um and it started, and it took time to do this. So it for me, just to kind of walk you through, and I'll give you real information here, like having a dream that identified that's where you're going to be. You saw yourself moving, unpacking things, um, and that's where you were going to be. And you look at, and in the dream, you look out a window and you see what you see now, what I see now. To doing spell work to facilitate the move, to protect prosperity, abundance, some glamour, healing work, all these different things I was doing, and scripting, lots of scripting, because once we were here, we had to find a place to live, and this is what I envisioned or what I wrote out in my script. So all of these things, and I knew this was going to be a process. I see you talking about your problem is patience. Yeah, I knew well, it couldn't be quick because there were things that needed to finish. When we came here, my daughter was graduating from the University of Miami. Um, so we moved here in May. Officially, the whole family came here in May. At the time, I've got a son who is was in college, but there was a whole lot of things that happened with that. So I sent my son to college, but he did not remain. So he's back. He at that point was back with us. My daughter is coming out of college with a degree, great, but no job or anything like that. And she wanted to go to medical school at that point. So the whole family's together when we first came here. Things have changed drastically. I realize it's been 6 years. My son has completed military in the Air Force and is out now, which calls again for the calls. I am so incredibly grateful that my son is out of the military right now, officially. Y'all know what's going on. I'm so very grateful. And I send just a veil of protection for those mothers and wives and sisters and aunties who still have somebody that's in right now. I am so very grateful right now about that. Another thing for me to talk about in my ritual. Um, But anyway, yeah, when we came here, there were so many other, like, I'm doing spells for my kids, my daughter who's saying at that point she wants to do medical school, and for my son who has made a decision at this point to go into the Air Force. There's so much spells, magic that I was casting and doing at the same time, spells on spells on spells for real. And it was all tied in. And then for my own dream, and then to realize everything happened the way it was supposed to happen. My daughter did not do med school. She went into nursing. And then because she's her and a product of me, she doesn't just do it the regular way. She's got to go into a niche type of nursing, which she is in now. My son did, in fact, go into the Air Force. And, I end up getting the house that I have been scripting about, and I'm living in it. And it blows my mind. It blew my mind. It's still, when I look back at all that, was all those balls I had up in the air and how everything worked out as I had casted it to, as I intended to, within reason too. When you get the successful spell and all the things work, there's nobody talks about, I don't hear a lot of witches talking about that feeling of like being afraid to tempt fate and trying again, trying something big again. Because it feels like, was this a fluke? Or if you grew up in a kind of environment where you heard people saying things, like they almost like curse anything good because that means it's going to be taken from you. Um, if you kind of grew up around people like that, it's something, you're constantly kind of fighting. You think you got that lick, but in moments like that, it comes up, and it's limiting beliefs, by the way. That's what I'm talking about. It's having a limited mindset about what can work for you and what can't. You just prove to yourself that you can make it happen, but there's this weird energy that can kind of seep in underneath the gratitude that, like, all right, don't do too much though. Don't get too excited about this. And this is just a moment of vulnerability. Something it's not all the time, but it'll seep in this type of energy. And I have to work through that. And it had kind of had a hold on me. I didn't realize it initially because it was just under the guard of, I had been wanting just peace for a very long time. And I finally got my peace. So I was really just in that and realizing, wait, you do want more. You want more than that. And it's okay to want more. And it was almost like this sense of fear of like, I'm going to disrupt my peace if I try to go for too much. And also, will I have to, I don't know, like I had this thing in my head, like, am I going to have to sacrifice my peace for things to get more of the things that I want? It's just ridiculous. And that's not true, by the way. No, I don't have to. No, these are just weird things I'm telling myself. It's amazing what the mind can do. The number one thing that, if you take nothing from this conversation and me going on these tangents at the end, is that witchcraft is more about controlling your mind than just intentions. It's more about you getting control over your own thoughts and not letting it run to the point of, you dealing with, unrealized, fear or doubts or just, wherever your mind goes, limiting beliefs, all that sort of stuff. Poverty mindset, all of that you have to just learn how to do that. And it's an ongoing thing. It's not a one and done. Oh, well, I've ascended to master level witchdom and I don't have to worry about any of this sort of stuff anymore. You have a lifetime of, you got to just think about where you come from, the people you came around, your experiences that have shaped you. It's an inside job, and it's ongoing for a lot of us, that we still have to work on that. And it's not all the time. Other times this is not even present in my mind and my thought. But I noticed with these big big dreams that I realized I was kind of just like shelving that. And I'm going for it now. Me coming out with the books. I literally, I mean, I can't show you, but I got labels right here. I got to go to the post office and package up my books. Me coming out with this was a big way of putting myself out there. And it was scary because what if I did all this and nobody bought one? What if people said, "Oh, we don't want that. This doesn't make any sense." Me coming out and making these was really putting myself out there. Me continuing to come out because there's more coming. Me continue to come out with other stuff is, it's scary, and this is where I'm harvesting right now. This created creatively, just tapping into my writing and tapping into creating things that are unique. And I know there's not a space for it. This isn't out there, y'all. Nobody has this. There are books that might be called a hoodoo grimoire. There is not something where they're giving you information and then giving you a actual book of shadows for you to write in, for you to add your additional information in. There is nothing out there. I look because I would have bought it and I would have did a witchy review about it. There is nothing out there. And the sizing also was intentional. The point was not to make this intimidating, to have this gigantic book, because I know how I felt when I would get a gigantic, like a sketchbook or something like that, and I want to create it, and I just felt overwhelmed with all those blank pages. So it was intentional about the sizing, but like this is me stepping into my power, and I'm harvesting right now, because it's happening. I'm making sales. It's happening between TikTok shop and Amazon and my website, lead taken. Yeah, I'm doing it, and I got over that limiting belief. So I'm still working on this dream because it's not a one and done. I have so much more that I want to put out there and so many things, and I'm harvesting that right now. Yeah. So I do want to talk about Sunday. So on Sunday's deep dive, I'm going to give you a bunch of Litha ritual ideas. Mind you, Sunday is still very much Litha. So Friday is the 20th. So we talk about going to the 22nd. So I'm going to have that video out early. I might even go ahead and just do it for Saturday, like Saturday night, and post it just in case you were wanting something earlier. But I'm going to be talking about a bunch of ritual ideas for solo witches, covens, groups, or just spiritual circles. And I'm going to be sharing like my stuff as well. Yeah. So I'm going to go like a deep dive into that. And also just make your sun tea. If you do nothing else, make some sun tea. It's so easy. You just put the water, if you want to start off with hot water, you can. But you can, put your tea bags and just put it in a jar, something with a lid. You don't want anything landing in it. And you can just put something in your windowsill. So even if you don't think the sun, like if you're not getting that level of sunlight, you can start off with hot water and just keep like your tea bags or something like that in there and just put it in your windowsill or put it in a line of the sun, whatever works for you. So you can tap into it. So like if you know you don't have time, you're working, or nothing else just seems like it's gonna make sense, you can do that. And when you're doing it, just talk to it first before you drink it. Speak your intentions, your affirmations into it. And if you want, okay, you can let me know on this video. I am very curious if you want to come back to it, and you could just say something like it worked, because it's the magic is right there. That's sun energy is very powerful. Um, yeah, I'm just say that. Let me know if it works. If you want to share, I want to know. So whatever you intended. So the goal is like hopefully it works. So I mean, if you have a long term goal, maybe you just see something that finally lets you know it's happening, or you're on a path for it. To whatever it is that you're working toward, whatever your intention is. But let me know. I'm curious. All right, so I want to do sort of like a closeout. If you do have something to drink, if you heeded my call earlier, take a sip. And when you're doing so, this is what you'll do with your sun tea. Imagine drinking in that solar energy, that golden power. This is water. But imagine when you do that, You know what it is to sip something. It goes in, you can feel the water or the liquid going through you. Imagine that being a healing elixir or a powerful potion that radiates throughout your entire body. And that's when you can do some additional spell work because you're like peaking, like you're you like imagine yourself literally glowing with this energy, and everything you're touching, everything you're doing is just amplified. All right, so I'm gonna wrap up now. So about Friday, I am thinking I might just post my a video instead of a live, or if I do live, it's probably going to be a little earlier in the day, so that I'm able to either earlier or later, because my we're doing our ritual, and I want to give a lot of time for that. My coven I'm talking about. Um, and I have my own personal stuff. I'm really doing the magic. So I'm trying to figure out, and I really want to be a part of the noon. Like I want to work it during 12 p.m. And that's usually when I go on live. So I've been perplexed on what I'm going to do. How am I going to approach this? So either I'm going to go later or earlier, or I'll just record something and post a video, and I'll do it like that. Because I still wanted to post my, keep it going. Or maybe I'll post on Saturday. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. Anyway, so maybe there's a live on Friday, maybe on Saturday, or maybe I'm just going to do a video. I don't know. Either way, happy summer solstice. And watch Sunday's video if you're looking for some ideas for rituals and things like that, because I'll have that for you. All right. Thank you, Empress Golf. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I'm glad you caught alive, Olivia. And Insky, as always, I appreciate you. And anybody else, if I didn't see you or if you comment, I appreciate you. All right. Bye. Like, subscribe, share all that YouTube stuff. Bye.